How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the Coastal Combat 11 preview show. My name's Daniel Maudsley, and I'm joined with none other than Coastal Combat promoter, Atos Black Belt, and head coach of Combat Lab, Joel Szepesvary. Joel, how's it going? Fight week upon us once more.
Yeah, excellent to be here, Maudsley. Fight week here, Coastal Combat 11. Excited, pumped up.
So, of course, it goes down this Saturday, November 5th, from the Pacific Paradise State School on the Sunshine Coast. 12-fight card on deck, 4-fight main card. But before we get into that, Joel, talk to us a little bit about what it's like now, the 11th installment of Coastal Combat, your baby, getting this far. Who would have thought? 11th birthday, we'll call it.
Yeah, 11th birthday. Yeah, well, it's coming along. You'd think it'll be you think it would just be all smooth sailing. But there's always a few little bumps that come along the way. But I guess you get used to those. You get prepared for the unknown, and then you just kind of, I guess you just roll with the punches, so to speak.
That's what we do. And well, punches will be flying in our main event, of course, the professional heavyweight division. So the big boys in the main event, of course, it will be Credence Anderson and Harry Gresh. And what a fight between these two. Of course, Credence experienced across multiple disciplines in the martial arts realm and coming off a crazy knockout in his last fight.
Yeah, it was nice to see that knockout just 3 weeks ago on Beatdown Promotions. It was nice. He clipped him. I think he was the underdog on paper coming into that one, but he just showed that power. Had some faith in his hands. Yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, and a good sort of, I guess, a good insight into why people love heavyweights. Anything can happen when boys that big throwing heavy hands. And of course, Credence's opponent is someone that a lot of people in the Australian MMA scene are pretty excited about. Harry, of course, 2-0 in his pro career, so undefeated so far, both wins by KO. And I tell you what, he is a very, very talented grappler.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he calls himself the Kimura, and there's obviously there's a reason for that. Even just watching some of his grappling highlights, he can catch it from anywhere. Um, he's stepping up in weight. He's just gagging for a fight. And he actually picked out this fight with Credence. He liked the look of it. He thought it was stylistically a good matchup, and he's been itching to get onto Coastal Combat. So we were excited to put it together. I'm as you know, I'm a big fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially in MMA. I like to see submissions. I like to see aggressive submissions, and I think we're going to see a nice little blend of aggressive attacking Jiu-Jitsu and some heavy hitting. So I think the fans are going to be the winners here.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there really is no overstating the grappling pedigree of Harry, of course, a three-time ADCC trials medalist and actually had a heel hook win over Robert Whitaker in 2019 that I saw on his Instagram. So
Mm.
if you're a man that's interested in leg locks, I'd recommend scrolling back a little bit on his Instagram to check that one out. So of course, the main event, the two big boys going at it. Very excited to see what happens when the cage door locks behind those two. Before that, of course, we will have our co-main event. The amateur middleweight title fight, Hank the Tiger Tank King returns to the Coastal Combat cage to defend his title for the first time against Gamebred's Darcy Noonan. So talk to us a little bit about this one, Joel. Of course, Hank winning the title on the last Coastal Combat, and Darcy also a familiar face to the Coastal Combat fans with a win on Coastal Combat 7.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, like Hank getting the impressive, well, the dominant kind of stoppage the last show, and to gain the vacant title, and stepping up, and we got Darcy from Gamebred, and he's definitely he's experienced victory. He's actually taken out he took out Daniel Stabley, who is another one of my guys, and he's just recently taken the XFC middleweight title. So I've got two middleweights with amateur straps at the moment, and so that win has aged quite well for Darcy. So it writes a nice little story there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see Darcy's progression, and obviously Game Breed have been bringing it to Coastal Combat since the first show. So it's got it's got a little nice story. Hank's made some improvements, so it'll be good to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, excited for that amateur middleweight title fight. And of course, before that will be in the professional flyweight division. And this one, a lot of people have circled on paper. We'll see the pro debut of Cooper Rush Royal. Of course, Cooper going 8-2 as an amateur and the first and only amateur double champion on Coastal Combat, taking the flyweight and bantamweight straps over the years. And he's taking on Adelaide's Jack Hayes. Sorry, Jack, of course, 2-1 as a pro, fighting out of M16 Fight and Fitness. And this is an interesting one, Joel. A bit of a clash of styles. Of course, we all know about Cooper's striking pedigree, but Jack Hayes, a talented purple belt, and also the 2022 state wrestling champion in South Australia.
Yeah, so it is an interesting match. Jack's. You look at his history. He really turned it on as he came pro. He hit his straps just at the right time. He's had a couple of good wins over there on Eternal, and yeah, look, it's I think putting it was basically more of a matter of who would fight who. But it was quite difficult to match, and he said to me he wanted to make his pro debut with us, and that was like a priority to put that together for Cooper. He's pretty much grown up on our show. He's probably the one fighter that who's that little guy? Whenever I hear people talk about the show, great show, great show. There was that one guy, and it's always Cooper. Everyone just he just loves his style. His style's he's got it's good to watch, and just the way he holds himself in there. He definitely performs in the cage, and he's done a lot of performances in our cage. So we like Cooper, and Jack coming across. He's definitely got the experience there, and it's a good matchup. It's a good stylistic matchup, and a good test for Cooper for his pro debut.
Yeah, super excited for that one. Professional flyweights getting it done. And of course, kicking off our main card, we'll have another amateur title fight, this time for the vacant lightweight Coastal Combat title. And a couple of Coastal Combat veterans here in Lewis Shalley and Ryan Bishop. Of course, Louis, a BJJ brown belt, fantastic arm in chokes on a 2-fight winning streak at the moment with both, I believe, rear naked choke victories. And Ryan Bishop, of course, very experienced inside the cage, 13 amateur fights, I believe, up until this point. He's got an IMAF Queensland Featherweight Championship in the back pocket. And, someone that a lot of people that train with him speak very highly of Ryan and think that he hasn't quite showed us everything that he's got inside the cage just yet. So what are your thoughts about this one?
Well, look, this one's been, both of them fought on our very first promotion. I know Bishop quite well, and obviously Lewis Shelley's one of my guys as well. And both of them fought on our debut, and it's kind of been the elephant in the room. And Ryan Dunstan and myself, we've talked about the match, and we thought we just would leave it, and we said we'd only really coach against each other again, because we went against each other one time for the very first fight of Coastal Combat. We went against each other, and it was kind of awkward being opposite corners. We've always kind of been on the same side, but if there was a belt on the line, we'd put that aside. And this match has been sitting there on the back burner for a while, and both guys, both Bishop and Shelley, are at the point in their careers where it's the right match to make. There's a lot of respect between both teams and both fighters. I've seen Bishop put on some stellar performances in our cage. Some of the trash talk inside whilst fighting. Bringing it. He's had some ups and downs in our cage. We've seen a lot of emotion from him. Same thing as Louis. We've seen some wins and losses in our cage. So the storyline for this fight, there's a big story, and it's like the history in this one. History between both fighters coming from that first fight, the first show, and the way it's all played out. I like it. And I think the fans will be able to follow it. You can look back and you can look at both of their fights. You can look at both guys' fights on our promotion. You can see the journey. So we're not just having to slap this together. These two are worthy, both company men, and it'll be exciting either way to crown a new lightweight amateur champ.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree with you there. It felt like these two were on almost an unavoidable collision course over the last 5 or so years. So excited to see them finally throw down here at Coastal Combat 11. And so, of course, that rounds out our main card, but stacked undercard as well. 8 fights in total on that. One that I'd like to shout out is Alex Ross and Nathan Fletcher. Really excited to see those two boys throw down. What about you, Joel? Anything on the undercard that particularly piques your interest?
Look, we've got a lot of there's a couple of there's some boys. There's a lot of debuts there that I don't want to mention the names of debut fighters. I don't want to jinx them, but there's some people coming from striking backgrounds and coming across, and I've put together some nice matchups with some heavy hitters and some nice striker versus grappler matchups in this card. So it's a few technically debut MMA debuts, but they're coming in with with definitely some pedigree. The only thing if I've got a regret, I don't like to have regrets. If I've got a regret, we don't have a female fight on the card. This is the first time since Coastal Combat 1. One of our missions, Nicole and I, have always been just to push women's MMA. It's been close to our hearts. We've always had at least one. Most of the times sometimes we've had 3 or 4 female fights on the card. We couldn't get one this time. And I think when you look at it, it's because all the other shows are now cottoning on, and they're like, they realize that the sport of women's MMA is great, and so they're starting to adopt that into their promotions. Because you look at some of these other promotions, and they'll go several shows in a row without a female fight. We always had a female fight, and I think it's almost we can look back and say the fact that we couldn't seem to don't get me wrong, tried to match. I offered probably 15, 16 different fights out there. We just couldn't get one to stick. We had a few little issues with weights and injuries and all different kinds of stuff. But man, I tried. But I think it's a good thing. I'm looking at it as a good thing. It means that the female fights have been snapped up from other promotions. So we've done the job that we wanted, which is raise the profile of women's MMA in Australia. I think so. I'm looking at it as a positive, even though it's a regret not having a female fight. I think we've done what we set out to do. So kudos to Nicole for pushing me there.
Well, of course, you did have Nicole Szepesvary headline in the last Coastal Combat, so professional female main event. I think we can give you a pass on this show as far as that front's concerned. So as we mentioned,
how about you? How about you? Sorry to cut you off.
No, please go.
How are you going over there?
Oh,
how are you
good,
going
mate.
over there in the States, mate? I'm not going to have you there by my side this time. So you're very busy over there. Give us a little update.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, unfortunately, this will be the first Coastal Combat that I'll miss. Living stateside now, still working in the MMA industry, which is nice for Paradigm Sports Management. So obviously, one of our big clients here at Paradigm is Israel Adesanya. So we are all systems go for UFC 281 at Madison Square Garden, New York next weekend. So I'm heading off to New York in a couple of days. So very excited, but very bittersweet. I'm certainly getting some FOMO missing out on Coastal Combat, but I'm sure that you've assembled a team that will do a great job without me. And needless to say, I'll be certainly tuning in online buying the pay-per-view.
Perfect, excellent.
So of course, before we let you go, Joel, November 5th this weekend, Pacific Paradise State School. Anything you'd like to add before we close this one out?
Look, we've got tickets online still. Worst case scenario, you'd probably grab something at the door. I wouldn't leave it too late. But yeah, look, come down. If you're interstate or you can't make it, just grab the stream. We always like to put on some, we call it boutique sports entertainment. We like to keep it a little bit, make it nice and a little bit different for the fighters. Yeah, we'll have some fun with it.
Yeah, and if you live in LA and want to watch party, shoot me a message. We'll get together. So, look, really excited, as we mentioned, 12-fight card going down this weekend. Pacific Paradise State School, all headed up by our heavyweight main event, Credence Anderson and Harry Gresh. So thanks so much for your time, Joel. Can't wait to tune in on Saturday, and we'll see everyone there.
Thanks, Maudsley. See you soon.